Good morning. We will discuss today Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 5, the cause of all causes, text 35. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastavayesya Bhadrasu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamas Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Text 35. Saheva Purusastasmat Andam Nirbhitya Nirhyataha Sasurangi Baufaksha Sasranana Shirsavan. Word for word translation. Saha, he, the Lord, Eva, himself, Purusaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Tasmat, from within the universe, Andam, Hiranyagarbha, Nirbhitya, dividing, Nirhyataha, came out, Sahasra, thousands, Uru, ties, Angre, legs, Bahu, arms, Aksaha, eyes, Sahasra, thousands of, Anana, mouths, Shirsavan, with heads also. The Lord Mahavishnu, although lying in the coastal ocean, came out of it, and dividing himself as Hiranyagarbha, he entered into each universe and assumed the Virat Rupa with thousands of legs, arms, mouths, heads, etc. This is a short purport by Srila Prabhupada. The expansions of the planetary system within each and every universe are situated in the different parts of the Virat Rupa, universal form of the Lord. And they are described as follows. So in the next verses, the Virat Rupa will be described. Om Ajnana Timandasya Chananchana Shanaka Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shigave Namah. Chaitanyamanopistam Stapitam Yena Bhuttaleshvyam Rupakadamyam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padakamanam Shiyom Vaishnavam Sha Shiyopam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savdutam Parjana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivishakam Vitam Sha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jat Pate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute. Tapta Kanchna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwara Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamama Hari Priye. Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyasha Kripa Snibhivasha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namah. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhuttale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gaurvani Pacharine, Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarine. Srila Prabhupada ki. So this chapter started with Narada Muni questioning his father. He's asking about the creation. He's asking Lord Brahma, do you create on your own power, by your own power, or is there someone higher than you? Is it on your strength that you create and annihilate? That, and then Lord Brahma starts to reply. He said, no, I only can create because I'm empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm helpless without his support. I cannot be his instrument. That, and then Brahma explains the creation. He's the best authority to speak about the creation. He has first-hand experience with it. And so that is authority. You hear from the Creator, not from some foolish scientist who do not know anything. They speculate. They speculate on basis of pratyaksha, sense perception, knowing by sense perception. And then, based on that sense perception, they come up with some anuman. Anuman is a method of reasoning and concluding something. Speculation. So that's not the way to know the universe and where the universe is coming from, how the creation goes. There is in the beginning, there's a big bang. Something exploded out of nothing. And that was the cause of the universe. And it's still going further and further away from that big bang, all these planets. But now recently they are rejecting this theory. Because they see so many galaxies or whatever they think they see. And they see different powers in the universe and black holes and so on. Dark matter, whatever names they invent. Yes. And they understood that now there are different powers in the universe. It's not coming from a big bang. That they are at that point now of understanding that. But their theories will go on changing. But Brahma is the authority. He knows. He is the right person to ask the question. Brahma received knowledge from Krishna within the heart. That's how the Bhagavatam begins. That Shanmadhyasayatam Fayati Taratasate Sabhichas Fratini Brahma Ridaya Adikavye Moyanti Atsuraya. So yes, that at the beginning of creation, Krishna gave knowledge to Brahma from within the heart. He gave this knowledge from within the heart. And this knowledge that he gave to Brahma from within the heart in the beginning of creation they are mentioned in this second canto. They are mentioned in the 9th chapter, from verse 33 till 36. And these verses, they contain the essence of all spiritual knowledge. It defines who Krishna is, that who God is, that there, because the Supreme Lord says to Brahma, Hameba sameva hinanyat satasat pram pashatam yateta shayo fasisheta somayam. He said, before the creation, Krishna said, I was only existing. That there was only myself. And then there was the creation, the material nature manifested. That and whatever you see in this material nature, that it's also me. That in another form, but it's Krishna's energy, it's also Krishna. And when he withdraws the creation, it goes back to his unmanifested state. Then this again, alone me, Krishna says. So that's a significant verse, because that is what this chapter is pointing to. Krishna is the cause of all causes. So Brahma is not the creator. He's a secondary creator, an instrument in Krishna's mercy. And the purpose of all this is, of this description, is to bring us out of illusion. That rete retam nyapratyeta napratyeta satmani tat vityatmanomayam yatavaso yatatama. That so whatever appears to be of any value, Krishna says to Brahma, which has no relation to me, has no reality. That's my illusory energy. That reflection which appears to be in darkness. So Krishna explains what's illusion. Illusion is what we in our consciousness see not connected to Krishna. Krishna is in his creation, but when we don't see Krishna in the creation, when we don't see Krishna in every atom, then we are in illusion. But the Bhagavatam is helping us to see Krishna again. That's the first step. The first step in God realization. That seeing Krishna in the universe. That in the next verses, the Virat Rupa will be explained. Virat Rupa is meant for the atheist. Don't believe in God. Then the first step is they don't believe in God, okay? They can accept the universe as God. And therefore, in the next verses, this Virat Rupa is described. Prabhupada will say in the next verse, the Virat Rupa is an imaginary form of the Supreme Lord. It's not a real form. But it's described like that to understand that for the atheists, they can accept the universe as God. They think they are the body. So the big body of everything that exists is God. And that a further development from that, the next stage is accepting that God as a supersoul is present in every atom. But that is a further step. First, the first step, accepting that God is in every atom. Accepting the universe as God. And in the next verse will be explained the Brahmins are the forehead of the Supreme Lord, of the Virat group. The arms who protect everyone are the Kshatriyas. The belly and the waist is the area of the stomach, and these are the Vaishyas, those who do cow protection, agriculture, trade, who feed everyone. And the legs are the Sudras, they help everyone. That's by that they can see the Brahmins as the forehead of the Supreme Lord. But then there is also the description of the Virat group in terms of the planetary systems. They say Satyaloka, Brahmaloka is forehead. That Sanaloka, Tapaloka, these higher planetary systems, very far away, that these higher planetary systems, Sanaloka, Tapaloka, Marloka, they are the face of the Lord. So there are 7 higher planetary systems will be explained in the next verses. 7 lower planetary systems. So you have these 7 higher, means we are in the middle, more or less, the earthly planets is the first part of the higher 7. Then higher you have Indra Loka, and many other planets there. And you have the lower planetary systems. The lowest is Patal. These are the feet of the universal form, where Ananta Shesh is worshipped. Patal. And then Sutal, Vital, Sutal, and so on. 7 hellish planets, or lower planetary systems. Shari's legs and his feet. Then it is said, Sutal are his knees, and so many descriptions. Accepting all the planets as the form of the Lord. And by that they start these atheists to accept the Virat group, that they start to accept the all-pervadedness of God in that form. So that's the first step for the atheist to take. But this Virat group is also worshipped by the demigods. In the next chapter, chapter 6, it's called Purusukta Confirmed. And the Purusukta Sukta prayers, they are describing all these planetary systems and all these rulers. That, of course, they have worshipped Vishnu, but all the others are also mentioned, the assistants. These Purusukta prayers, at every Jahya they are usually prayed. We hear that together with the Sahasranam, that 100 names of Lord Vishnu, that is Purusha Sukta. So yes, But this verse says, yes, Mahavishnu, he lies on the coastal ocean. That he puts in Brahman unmanifested the three modes of nature. He injects them by his glands, and they are in equanimity, they are balanced. But then he injects the living entities. Then the creation starts. Due to the false ego of the living entities and the time injected, everything starts to move and all the material elements are created. And these material elements, they form the shells of the universe. They form the universes. First the shells, and becomes like eggs, becomes like who are coming out of the pores of Mahavishnu. This exhalation and all these universes are manifested. The Mahavishnu expands himself. In Garbhodakashaya Vishnu is called here Inya Garbha. He expands him in so many Hiranya Garbha forms and enters each universe. And he enters the universe. First, he starts to sweat, and half of the egg is filled with water. He lies down there on Ananta Shays on the water, and from his abdomen, a lotus flower comes, and on that lotus flower, Brahma is born. Brahma does first for a long time tapa, austerities, and then Krishna gives him these 4 verses of the Bhagavatam to the heart and empowers him for the creation. And at a certain moment, you get that knowledge of the Supreme Lord, and he's sitting on the lotus flower, and like a cosmic wind comes, and the flower starts to go from one side to another, and finally breaks up, and all the petals of these flowers, they form planets. All the planetary systems are manifested. But no life yet. Then Hiranya Garbha or Garbhodakashaya Vishnu expands himself into the Virat group that in all the planets that and enters into them. That then Brahma start to populate these planets. Because these planets were injected to the stem of this lotus flower. And when Brahma creates, they come out of his forehead. He creates mental suns like that. And that's the beginning of the creation. So we have here in this chapter and in the next, this Virat Roop is described. And all these planetary systems and their rulers are described. So we are going to get a lesson in Vedic cosmology. And but this universe, to travel from one planet to another, cannot be done in this body. And scientists know that. They try to reach Alpha Centauri, but they calculated the travel will take 71 years one way. And probably the planet is even not populated. It's not, there is no life in the form they expect. Because the human form of life is only one form of life. That there are 400,000 kinds of human life. But the demigods, they have subtle bodies. We cannot see them. Even when we go to these planets, we cannot see them. Because they have subtle bodies which are beyond the purview of our material senses. They are useless for that. So to get this knowledge, it must come from higher sources who have the eyes to see all these things. And that is Brahma. So that is also a lesson to learn from it. We are all helpless. Our sense perception is not what we see, is not the reality. The reality lies beyond the sense perception. The subtle platform, subtle material platform, and the spiritual platform. But Brahma gives us all this knowledge that, of course, then Lord Krishna explains to Brahma, Yatamanti bhutani bhutachus sasvanu pavishta pavishtani tatatishu nateshvaham. So he said, I'm entered the entire universe. I'm everywhere. So I exist in everything that's created, Krishna says. And at the same time, I'm outside of everything. He's Krishna in the Supreme One, in Goloka Vrindavan. At the same time, he is present also to his energies and as a super soul, his expansion. And yet, therefore, we cannot see beyond our sense perception. We need authorities who have the eyes to see. And Krishna says, he concludes to Brahma, he says, Etavateva jichnasyan tattva jichnasyanatmana amvaya vyatrekapyam yatsut sarvata sarvada. The person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space, and both directly and indirectly. So that is our mission. Find Krishna in this world. Remember him every time. That Uttama sees only Krishna. He doesn't see material energy. He has the spiritual eyes. But we don't have these eyes. Because from the moment we are in the body concept of life, we think we are this body. We cannot understand this knowledge. You may read the Bhagavatam. If you think we are the body, we cannot understand. But, therefore, we need to go step by step and first understanding that we are who we are, a spirit soul, a part of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme controller. We are mini controllers. But we are so small that we are always dominated. We are either dominated by the spiritual energy or the material energy. That when our consciousness is liberated from the attachment to this world, from the idea that we are the body, and we have learned to identify ourselves as a spirit soul, a spiritual being, then we can start to understand this knowledge. So it requires knowledge, it requires faith, it requires association with devotees. And Jalli, the veil of illusion is lifted and we start to see something. To understand Krishna, we must come out of this illusion. It means we must become free from lust. As long as we are not free from lust, then we cannot understand that. But this second canto gives us an insight of who is Krishna, how he manifested this cosmos, these universes, and how he's present everywhere. And this is something which is repeated in the Bhagavatam, this creation, because it's so important. Because I think it's at the end of the fourth and the fifth canto. The fifth canto, the creation is described in reverse order. Because first we have to hear how we became conditioned, how this world was created, and how the living entity became entangled in this world, as described here. If we understand that how we become entangled, we can disentangle ourselves and get out of it. And that's the purpose, to understand this. How by our desire we became connected with the wrong energy, with the material energy. And the material energy brings us down. It bewilders us and degrades us. It's very dangerous energy. That Prabhupada said about these American disciples in the beginning. My Western disciples are not afraid of Maya. That's not a good quality. Better to be afraid. See Krishna at every moment in our lives. So this Viratrope is described here. It's an imaginary form, but nevertheless we can learn from it how Krishna is present in the universe. And especially in the next verses will be explained, because all these planets are created and so on, but nothing is moving. It's all that. So to get the creation going and to empower Brahma, Kaptakasaya Vishnu expands himself in Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, who is in Svetattvip. It's a spiritual planet which is higher than Satyaloka. And there we have Kshirodakashaya Vishnu lying on the bed of Anantashesh in the middle of the milk ocean, a white ocean. Milk ocean. It's a white ocean, therefore the milk ocean. And we see in the eighth canto the demigods. Every time there is trouble in the universe, they are going to Svetattvip with Lord Brahma, praying to the Supreme Lord for help. They are on the shore, on the beach, helpless, praying. But the only one who could come in contact with Kshirodakashaya Vishnu was Brahma, because he had the pure consciousness. The demigods, their consciousness is still polluted, sakam bhaktas, because they have still slight material desires. And they cannot see reality. They cannot come in contact with Krishna. They cannot see the spiritual reality. Although they are in goodness. But goodness is not spiritual. It's nice, peaceful. But the goodness is important. But sometimes devotees, they say, in the beginning I came to Krishna consciousness, but now 20 years later it's all becoming so familiar. And I'm losing taste. In the beginning I taste, but now I don't have taste anymore. So what's the cause of this? The cause is that we are performing devotional service in passion. And we are expecting also material results. That's the cause. And that doesn't work out. That is mixed devotional service. Pure devotional service is giving everything to Krishna without asking something in return. Completely detached, but it's a gradual process. So we have to be careful with our motivations. But then Kshirodakasari Vishnu, he enters in everything, in every atom. And then, like the Virat Rupa comes to life. There is life in the Virat Rupa. Before it was that the soul has entered, the Supreme Soul. And he's in everyone's heart. As Antaryami, or the Super Soul Paramatma. So we learn all these things about the creation. So, any comments or questions, please? Yes, Mother Vanuya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very, very much for this, again, super, super interesting class. If it's possible, I would like to ask two questions. The first question is regarding, you said during the last minutes, I thought Brahma is also a demigod, and why? So he has pure consciousness. I thought Brahma can also be bewildered. Also, there is a difference. He said there's a difference between Brahma and the demigods, and Brahma has pure consciousness. Also, I thought he's also a demigod, with not, also with still material desires. Can you explain this a little bit?
Yeah, so Brahma is different from all the other demigods because he has no material desires. He works out of duty. That is the head of our sampradaya. That we are in the Brahma sampradaya. If Brahma is bewildered, then how can we get knowledge? No, he's not bewildered. But Brahma his service is in the mode of passion. And it's a different, and in the mode of passion, you need passion to create. And it's a dangerous energy, and Brahma knows it. That, and a few times he became bewildered. But immediately he retracted himself and gave up the mentality, just for a split second. The same with the whirling pastimes. He wanted to test this coward boy. He was not sure who he was. But he found out very soon that the coward boy was his Supreme Lord. But that's Krishna's pastimes. Krishna uses pastimes to teach us, like the mother teaches the daughter, chastises the daughter, and rectifies the daughter to teach the daughter-in-law factually. That's an example Prabhupada gave. That so Krishna uses his devotees to engage in pastimes to teach us, and sometimes he bewilders them. But Brahma has no material desires like the demigods. That he is the father of all the demigods. That well, most of them were created by him. He created 33 million demigods from his mind. That's a lot of children. That he's the oldest person in the universe. That the first living being. So he knows. You had the second question?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much. I hope I can express it understandable. Also, you said, or also said in the Bhagavad Gita, when we have this knowledge, how we got entangled, ne? Also how about the Vishnus and the creation, then it helps us to get out of this entanglement. Also, how can I make progress to apply this knowledge that I voluntarily give up my material attachments?
Yeah. If you hear about this creation, it is very long, eons, it is said in previous, but it's all temporary. It goes. Loma Rishi got a benediction from a benediction that he would live as much as days of Brahma as there were hairs on his body, and he had a lot of hair. As long as there are hairs on his body, but every day of Brahma, one hair would fall out. Yeah, who has such a long lifespan? But he was at Ganga, and the sun was shining, and his disciples wanted to build a hut for him to protect him from the sun. And Lord Marisha said, "Don't waste your time with it. I'm just here for a moment." It's all very temporary. If we realize that soon we are out of here, it's so temporary, then why should we be attached to anything in this world? Soon we are out. And that's a lesson to be learned. It's nothing, we don't have anything to achieve in this world. What we have to achieve is change our consciousness. And then we get out of this dangerous connection with the material energy. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much. All the best.
Anything else? Good. Then I'm looking forward to see you next week, Tuesday. Hare Krishna, have a nice day. Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you very much. His Holiness Bhakti Prabha Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.